Okay, guys, so I'm just going to be continually putting out pieces of information, facts, and findings for all of you to be made aware of. So, this is a declaration of a state of war that was signed between Hawaii Pai'aina, so Hawaii, and the United States of America. This happened on January 17th, 2021. These are the two that signed it. These are the longitudes and latitudes of where the signatures are. So this has been out in Hawaii. It's been made known. As far as I understand, even the police commissioners have been informed. I'm pretty sure the governor and the lieutenant governor of the de facto state have been informed. And the one thing about the insurgency is it's really hard to give up power, as the same thing you guys are seeing in Washington, D.C. Right? It's really hard for the corporate fiction, fraudulent government to give up the accumulated power that they have. But if you've been watching very closely to what's happening with the banking system, and if you put two and two together, you'll understand why you want to then start to nationalize and go back to your country. To me, I think the word citizen means slave, period. And so if you're enslaved and you don't know it, which is what happened to most of us in Hawaii, including myself, born in Hawaii, Hawaiian national, born in the archipelago, Kanaka bloodline from before the insurgency, all the way basically to creation, because we get our own creation story, which is another thing that I find very interesting about how the world is hiding what really is Hawaii, yeah? And so, it's these things are out, so there's a way that you're supposed to behave. And for the US, the United States of America, they have the FN 27-10 for the military. So if you have a military friend in Hawaii, you give them this video. And this is how we keep everybody from killing each other, right? We give them the information, we informationalize them, we give them truth. And then from there, we need to act accordingly. We need to behave accordingly. We need to know where we're waking up in, because the rules that have applied before no longer apply. We're kind of in what's called post-millennium. But above and beyond that, um, now is a time to peacefully come together and discuss these things or create content that will help others to become aware of the facts and findings and conclusions of law. And so there has to be a restructuring of everything. It doesn't mean that everything is going to go to zero. It just means that those of us who are Kanaka and Hawaiian, we need to take a stand in the light. We take all the skills that we've learned along this time before we knew we were abducted during a war and given legal documentation, really without us being educated about what that means. Facts. Okay. Um, I am not American, and I went through this process of repatriation, internment. So that's one of the books, right? And the FN 27-5 is how the civilians are supposed to act. So you guys can actually find those things on the internet. You don't need me to make a website to do that, but you can go look for your own. Start instead of clapping back and trying to prove to somebody who over the last 5 years, my whole life is an example. Yeah, it's a testimony. So nobody can stop me from talking. They tried. They tried very hard, but that's what happens when you share mana'o and ike of well-being and truth. And so for people in Hawaii, if you're here in Hawaii on the archipelago, then what I would recommend you guys doing is to stop and analyze how the hell you got here. And ask yourself, am I prepared for when the worst case scenarios come? And if you're not, and you're not on the right side of the law, there is going to be administration, and there might be aid of people in military uniform, and things are going to change. Some people might snicker and laugh because they think, the Hawaiians, they should have just been grateful that they got everything stolen from them. We would love that to happen to us, But no, you guys wouldn't. You guys wouldn't love it to happen to you guys if you guys are American. That's why you guys are so worried about Russia and China. They're not our enemy. We actually had peace treaties with them. And this is the thing for everybody now. If you're living in Hawaii, the re-education program is pretty voluntary right now. It means stop doing the same things that you was doing on a day-to-day basis. We're in a war. You're not supposed to be paying taxes and going to work and supporting a terroristic government that is fraud. You know what I mean? You're literally, when you take your energy to sweat off your back, to go work a job, to pay your bills in a system that basically kidnapped you, abducted your identity, separated you from your living being, and isn't giving you a way to get back unless you find out the truth, then I would start to associate yourselves with somebody, other groups and communities of people who are going to be able to educate you on these things. And one of the best ways to do it is to informationalize people just by reading what information that you have that you can help to support the community. Um, and then the other part of it is I'm not sure how many of you guys out there have considered what it's going to look like when the borders get shut down, or when people are seeking asylum, repatriating, expatriating, and those that don't want to stay in Hawaii, they really want to go back to their country, and I think it's the best thing for them to do. You get on your ship or your plane and you go out, and then when we open up the country before 2030, maybe then you'll be invited back because you did the right thing by leaving in the first place. These are the things that are going to happen. The Royal Council has reconvened. Reconciliation should start. Right now, I'm not asking for reparations. I'm asking that everybody stop obstructing the justice. We have our own gold in Hawaii. We can issue our own digitized cryptocurrency. Um, but it's way better when you have the U.S. government and the military focusing on the right things, and that's by going into the Chapter 6, yeah, of FM 27-10. When you go in there, it talks about occupation, it labels everybody, it helps people to understand what a belligerent is, an inhabitant is. I wouldn't have had that knowledge if it wasn't for Colonel Sam. I didn't hear about it before. There's so many different kupuna that have paved their way in each capacity. Some I don't agree with, some, thank God that they did stuff, but at the end of the day, I cannot take out the Kanaka blood inside DNA inside of me, and I don't want to be an American. I'd rather be an American ally, but the US citizenship is all bus. They all bus, and they're all banking on the banking system. And so for us, some of us are very, very prepared for the next 10 years. And we hope that you come to learn, because information and truth is how we're going to get there together. And if you part Kanaka and you say you Hawaiian, then this is a good time to start taking some notes, subscribing to this channel, sending it to another person. I'll continue to load up information on YouTube now that the proclamation is out and the laws of war are in play. You know, I I'm not the type of person to capitulate. I get my own story that I'm gonna be sharing. The country of Hawaii is launching their own social network. They get their own blockchain technologies, and you're gonna have people who are gonna be able to educate you guys. We get farms right now. You can go up and plant food. You know what I mean? But you gotta think about, everybody's always like, well, what is Hawaii gonna, this is a good time if you come knock on Hawaiian. Ask not what you can do for your country, but ask what you can do for your country. Yeah, what is it? Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. And I can just call all of you guys who are between, especially if you're between 30 and 50. Now's a good time for us, the younger generation, to step in and step up and work together collaboratively. We don't need everybody for move all together at once. You just need 5 to 7% of people that will turn into 30% of people that will turn into 50% of people. And in Hawaii, my guesstimate, this is my guesstimate, is that there's probably 600,000 part Kanakas. So if there's all of us finding our way back home, that's a very sizable number to do an election unless you guys want a mo'i. And I think that if you guys had a really good mo'i, you guys would appreciate it. But all the old ones, basically, like, people are worried about, you know, turning into basically Britain. For me, it's just knowing what the Vatican and Europe has done. And then by way of London and by way of Washington, D.C., yeah. So all of that Federal Reserve printing and money basically comes from enslavement. I have no problem letting everybody know about all those commercial contracts. So if you're a LLC, if you're a fucking S corp, if you're all of these different things in Hawaii, it's all the time for cancel. That's why knowing the law is very important. That's why they don't like teach us the law. So we're dealing with the UPU, the Federal Postal Union, which Kalakaua was. Um, it's very interesting. Hawaiian history is very beautiful. It shows how highly conscious we were before the unconscious came to try to control. So with that, you guys, this is just one piece of facts and evidence that you can share with other people in Hawaii. You guys may not like these people, but right here it's on a piece of paper. You may not know who these people are, but to me, this service was done by Colonel Sam Lilikoi and Lieutenant Guy Beaumont in the U.S. Navy or VJ Army. Now, there's also the Navy of Hawaii. There's also, that's under the UPU. It's very, very worth learning these things. It's actually kind of cool how very well put together because of the monarchy's awareness. But that was a good time. I think that all of us are kings and queens. I think we were given that title in Hawaii um, from our monarchs. And I think that we need to behave like that because one of the things about ownership I've noticed is people don't have the mana'o for ownership because they're all learning legal. And legal is actually not even law. Legal is just rules and regulations. And to me, legalese is corporate fiction. So it's just a syntax fraud on real law. And that's really, really, really big. Let it sit down and settle for you. It's a fucking huge thing. Okay? So yeah, I swear because it's better me swearing on a video and not make any threats and present facts and that you guys will share them in the world. But, you know, we have no time. We need to assemble. So those of you, you know, start to contact us. We'll have the administrative team go over this account and look inside of the comment sections. I'm not really sure, you know, YouTube isn't my number one gig, but, you know, being censored off Facebook and Instagram is been interesting. But anyways, yep, there you go. So that's another piece of evidence that's been out. What are we in, 2023? Yeah. So this Biden administration, you know, Josh Green, Sylvia Luke, yeah, all the people in the Rotunda, send this to them, just show them the video. A lot of them already got mail delivered to them, as you can see in the proclamation video in the video section. But you guys have a beautiful day. Try to stay in aloha as much as you can, and definitely start using the literature. You know, the more mana'o we get, the more we can utilize it against them. And I think for the very first time in history, Hawaii has had somebody who understands the banking system, doesn't need the banking system, didn't need the fiat currency system. And if you learn how to live like that, Brexit, yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful place. Right now, we're not asking for you to pay taxes in the country if you're doing cryptos. So, but there are going to be selective cryptos that are going to be announced. Yeah, but that's for all of our well-being. Yeah. So, anyways, have a beautiful day. Aloha, and I'll talk to you guys soon again.